All right, thanks guys for joining us here today. We are from Freestyle Solutions. We're going to talk to you today about managing your inventory with ease, using not only some of the common practices in inventory management, but also tying it in to our system, Freestyle Solutions Multichannel Order Manager. We'll be using the acronym or short way, M.O.M for short today. So to introduce your MCs today for this webinar, I am your product marketing manager here for Freestyle Solutions, Sean Taggart. I've been with the company for roughly about 4 years. During that time, I was in the implementation and support side of things, where the both of us, I was hands-on with the product, so I do have the technical background. Joining me today is our product manager, Ian Alano. Ian, if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Sean. Name's Ian Owano. Been with the company about 12 years now. Started off in support and then managing support, then implementation. Currently running the development team, helping design and different integrations and optimizing our systems.
Okay, thanks, Ian. So today we're here to really just talk to you guys about inventory management. Here's a quick slide going over the agenda for today. We'll give you a quick introduction to the company itself. Talk about some common inventory problems, and as you can guess, those three things are going to be forecasting, purchasing your products, and then viewing your inventory. We're going to be introducing you really briefly to Multichannel Order Manager, M.O.M for short again, and M.O.M's advantages. We're going to talk about everything and see it in action today based on those three common things, and then we're going to recap and take questions. During this webinar, we do like questions, and we'll answer them as we go along. So make sure that's in the GoToWebinar panel that you have up on your screen. The questions tab, you just ask your questions there, or ask anything in regards to, or talk to us about your inventory management problems that you currently are seeing. So as we go along here today, Freestyle Solutions has been a company for about 30 years building order and inventory management software. We did have two brothers who were the initial founders of the company formerly known as Dynacomp before we switched over in 2015 to Freestyle Solutions. They were in the sheet music industry, and they wanted a way to manage their catalog sales for the sheet music that they sold and manage the inventory for it. So they helped invent the order management category in 1985, and we are trusted over by 2,000 live customers. We do have various different verticals that we cover: fashion, health and beauty. Just to understand some of the few, we handle your e-commerce merchants, and like I said, health and beauty, apparel, food and beverage, nutraceuticals, sporting goods, automotive, books and publishing, and many more. We do handle up to online revenues of $75 million annually. Like I said, we do have here what's it called, your e-commerce, but we do have some that take the brick and mortar presence as well. And we're seeking the automation for their back office purposes, order and inventory management. And then it has multiple sales channels, multiple warehouses where they need it easily managed. And also they may require a modern mobile presence, and we do have that there with SiteLink as well. But we're going to go and focus on the multi-channel order management software today. Now let's talk about your common problems within inventory. Some of them is understanding demand in the long-term and short-term goal, and then using said understanding of your demand to make calculated purchases to your warehouses. So with our tool of forecasting, we'll talk about it in the slide next. You want to make sure that you're able to order the right amount of product, and you have the right amount of product in your warehouse during the busy seasons like we are right now. We are in the midst of a busy season with the holidays. You want to make sure for the short-term goal, you have that inventory in stock, and then also for the long-term throughout your course of the year that you're carrying the right products, you have the right products in stock ready for you to go ahead and order. Then obviously, with that being said, you want to have a strong view of your inventory, giving you the ability to accurately share the level of inventory on all e-commerce channels you may sell on. So the nice thing about this is within Multichannel Order Manager, we do have the ability to go ahead and, with the fact that it's multi-channel, the first M in M.O.M, we have the ability to go ahead here and really focus on your inventory and make sure you have the accurate levels to sell across all your channels. That way you don't over-promise and under-deliver, or you have just a great view of the inventory itself. That way you know what you can sell across all those channels. And then one of the things, once again, are you missing your common inventory issue? We want to hear it. We want to answer it for you here today. So we're going to take a quick break here where we're going to let you think about some of the inventory issues that you may be seeing, and we'll go forward and we will answer those questions as we see fit during today's webinar. We'll be back in 30. All right, and we are back here. Thank you guys for taking the time out and answering, getting to your questions. We'll get to those questions a little bit later on when we actually do the physical demonstration of showing you that. We'll throw it to Ian. Ian's going to be the one who's going to be primarily showing the screens and walking you through it. So we can actually go ahead and answer those questions then. But let's get continuing with it. We'll talk about that. With forecasting, obviously it's a big thing, and this is two different models of forecasting, which is your quantitative and your qualitative forecasting. Quantitative uses a mathematical model based on historical data. So what that means, it uses your order history, uses your purchasing history, it looks at all that information, and it makes a scientific, really just a good guess at what you are based on your past sales that says, you know what, you need to order this many. With qualitative forecasting, it predicts demands based on less measurable factors such as market forces, economic demand, and potential demand. This really right here gives you, this is your best guess. This is what you think may happen. M.O.M can handle and do both. We'll talk a little bit about that once Ian shows you the actual screens and goes over it a little bit. Also, one thing to note about forecasting is inventory needs to be measured in long-term and short-term increments. Once again, this goes back to the busy season. You want to make sure that in the short term, from the early November or late October to December push, you have that inventory in stock for that uptick in sales. But at the same time, too, throughout the rest of the year, you want to make sure that you're getting your inventory in easily and more efficiently. That way, you have the ability to really understand what you have in stock and make sure that you always keep enough in stock so that it sells. Obviously, you want to also consider lead time. We have the ability to know and understand your lead time from your suppliers right in the system itself. That way you know when it's a good time to start pre-selling if you want to, or putting it on the website that is available in stock for you to send to your customers. And then you also have the ability to use reports in the system to keep up with selling trends. We have a few inventory-related reports inside of Multichannel Order Manager. Ian will go into the details when we show the actual product itself. But we actually have some reports to help you, match up to, make educated guesses on the forecasting that you're going to be doing if you do the qualitative approach of forecasting rather than using the quantitative. But those reports that we have in the system will make sure you have the ability to go in there and do it. We're going to go ahead to the next slide here. We're going to talk a little bit about purchasing. With purchasing, you can quickly transition from forecasting purchasing, staying ahead of your sales curve. That just means you have the ability to really focus on what you have to forecast to get that inventory value back to a relatively good area for you to get in that inventory to sell. You have the ability to see your pre-populated vendor and suggested item quality based on forecasted demand. That also takes into consideration for anything that is available. Also, that takes into consideration based on your low levels, if you have your low levels set in the system with a Multichannel Order Manager, and also takes a look at back orders as well. So it can also give you all that level of detail to make sure that you're making the accurate purchase of that inventory that you need replenished back in your warehouse. Easy to use screen to make purchases. Ian will show you that. And then a 360-degree view of inventory shows you what's currently in stock and what's being delivered based on, once again, those expected dates you have. And then you have your ability to receive your products into inventory quickly and efficiently We do have a scan and receive feature using some scanning capabilities within the system. That way you have the ability to accurately receive that inventory back into stock, as well as making sure that you have your inventory officially accounted for. So I'm going to take a quick pause here for 30 seconds again. Please ask us any questions in the questions panel, and then we'll be right back. All right, we are back here again. Thank you guys for listening in and attending today's webinar. Feel free to ask us questions, as we are very eager to answer them, or bring up some problems you're seeing with your inventory management that you're having right now that you want us to address and talk about during the demonstration portion of today's webinar. So last year, you want to talk about and show your view of inventory. So with that being said, you want to have a view of inventory statuses across all your warehouses. You want to see it at any given time. You want to see the different categories of inventory, what's committed to orders, what's on back order, what you're ordering, what may be in some return bin that you need to take a look at. You want to see across all those different levels of inventory what your actual number is, and then the breakdown, of course, of that, so that you have an accurate depiction of your inventory through all your channels. Also, with that being said, you want something that's a little bit automated. You want to know if an item is being sold to update that inventory automatically within your system, so that way your system can be the one that pushes out that latest number to all of your other channels here directly. What I mean by that is you want to make sure that you have a system in place that can automatically deduct that, so you don't have to go into your different systems and manually adjust. And you may not be, or going into a PowerPoint presentation, or not PowerPoint, it's an Excel spreadsheet, and you may, flub a number by accident just because you're in a rush, because you have to make sure that the orders are getting out as well. We do have location level inventory control. What I mean by that is not only do we look at your overall value, but we show you and break it down of if you have multiple warehouses, your inventory levels for those warehouses. We have it at the bin level. So if you have multiple bins, what your inventory value is at the bins that you're selling on in that warehouse. If you have an overstock area, what that inventory value is in that overstock area. That way you know that you have inventory to sell at any point in time. And then once again, like I said, if you do have your low level set, you have the ability to go ahead here quickly and reorder them without hesitation, with ease, trusting yourself and making a very good educated and also scientific guess with your forecasting methods to make sure you're getting the inventory in stock. So all of this really ties in together. Your view of inventory lets you know of when you need to make purchases, once it goes into your purchasing levels, and then it takes a look at it based on the forecasting, if you're doing any type of forecasting, which is a common thing where many people aren't, because they just don't know what the right way is to forecast. We'll talk about that in a little bit with our system. But you want to make sure that you're giving and looking at all the inventory at any given time to make sure you're ahead of the curve. And then an industry-leading inventory management like our system allows you to keep customers happy and continue making purchases. Having accurate value makes it easier for you to know what you're selling and how much you can sell at any given time. So we talked about some of the common problems when it comes to an inventory management system. We're now going to go into what Multichannel Order Manager, or M.O.M for short, is. So as we mentioned today, Multichannel Order Manager is your solution for superior forecasting, purchasing, and inventory management. We are an industry leader, like I mentioned. We've been around for 30 years. We're talking about a piece of our core functionality today in inventory management, but that's not the only core piece we have here. We do have, it also really excels at your order inventory, order management and fulfillment. So we have a component there which takes all the orders in from all your channels, gives you the ability to do the fulfillment, pick, pack, and ship of those orders. It does have a good customer management capability. That way you can, track your customer's order history, you can track customer contacts, so on and so forth. And then we do have some good product management here in the system. That way you get to, look at your product, you get to see what the, you can create product promotions, so on and so forth. Nice advantages about M.O.M itself is it's a one system. It's one simple system to track everything. You don't need to tie in, or you don't need to use different systems to view different areas. It's only under one roof. Shipping labels out from here, track your inventory from here, track your orders and everything from here. So you can actually place orders through here as well. So there's a lot of things you can do within M.O.M. It helps you automate tasks. You can help automate your order processing to help you focus on other areas of your business that need close attention. And then finally, it's available in the cloud. Don't have to hire an IT staff to make sure they're keeping up your servers or maintaining a SQL database. We handle that for you in-house here directly. That way you can have another area of attention that you don't have to put that much focus on. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to talk about everything in terms of the inventory management functionality that we talked about here today. We're going to put it in action. Ian's going to actually go ahead here and show you the system itself and talk about some of the key components of forecasting, purchasing, and then the inventory view. But anything in regards to inventory management that you want to see within Multichannel Order Manager, just let us know in the questions panel of GoToWebinar. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to switch over to Ian, who's going to be able to show you and demonstrate the next set of information during this webinar today. So feel free to ask any questions, and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back here, and I'm actually going to give it over to Ian right now, and Ian is going to show you a little bit of information in regards to the inventory management features that we talked about within Multichannel Order Manager. Ian, whenever you're ready, take it away.
Thanks, Sean. So like Sean was mentioning, we do have a lot of things in regards to handle your inventory. So first, I'm going to go into some of the setups. So you can see you can actually maintain your suppliers in here in M.O.M so that you can actually record all your different vendors that you have. And then within the stock maintenance screen, you can actually pick the product that you're going to be working with, and you have a nice view of what's going on with that product. Under the inventory tab, you can see how much you currently have in stock, what's committed, what you have net on shelf, what's on the unprocessed return, what's in the back orders, what's for dropship, what's for FBA if you do Amazon. And like Sean said, you can have multiple bins for multiple warehouses. So I can add a bin here, and I can actually have another warehouse if I'd like. So if you have multiple warehouses, multiple bins, our system will be able to handle that, and you can easily view it within one system. So as you can imagine, if you have a website or you have a call center, all that information or all that data, order information is bringing into M.O.M, funneled to us, and then we handle all the automation of the inventory deduction as far as keeping track what's unit in stock, what's going to be committed, what's back orders. That way you don't have to handle that, and that kind of reduces the errors that you can have when tracking inventory without a back office like M.O.M. So in here I wanted to go into the forecasting. So after everything is set up, you set up your warehouse, you set up your products, you have your bins. Now you're going to go to the forecasting so you can see what you need to purchase. So within our system, we have what we call the forecasting. And here, you can forecast all your products that you want. So if I go to my part 1, I can take a look and see how this product is doing. And you can see how many units I've sold by months and you can actually forecast based on two history. So you can have H1 which is history, recent history, and then H2 is another history. That way you can project a growth for you automatically. So you can see there's a growth of 100%, 175%, and so the projected units for this particular product is going to be 12.25 if you wanted to buy that. So again, it gives you a nice view on some logic on around M.O.M so that you know what you need to purchase for a particular product. Also, on our view detail history, we actually give you a chance to actually edit the different value that the system generated. Because sometimes, let's say you forecasted a product last year, but we sold 60 in October last year, but we know the 60 was due to a promo that we ran. So you're probably not going to you might not run that promo again this year. So you might want to adjust the units you actually sold. So you can adjust the number of units, so that way you can put the regular number that you would have sold October. So things like that you can adjust, and then that would then adjust the projections for you automatically. And that way then that will help us forecast what you need to buy for this particular product. Also within our forecasting, Sean was talking about the quantitative and qualitative aspects of it. So we have a manual entry where you can set a date on what you want to forecast. You can choose the different products that you want or the different warehouse you want to forecast for. And then you can just simply adjust saying, hey, I know I'm going to grow 20% this year, so I'm going to adjust the unit sold by 120. So I can type that in, and I can also do the growth rate for another 20. So that would factor in that calculation manually. But if you don't want the growth factor to be manually calculated, you actually use one of the other options we have. We have sold overall, and sold by period. So you can put in a range for H1 and H2, and then you can do what happens is that the H1 and H2 will actually look at the overall ranges that you ran and see if there's a growth rate there, calculate that for you, and make that part of your projection. We also have a unit sold by period. So if you have a range of a year, this will actually break it down by the interval that you selected here. You have weekly, monthly, quarterly, or annually. So if you had monthly, it would give you a breakdown of a growth percentage for each month as you run this projection. And then we also have a trending, so you can actually see, you can start trending to see what you've been selling month over month, and then factor in a adjusted unit cost or a starting trend. And that way you can see what the next month or a couple of months would be, what you need to actually purchase. So that way, this helps you ensure that you have the proper inventory intact, so that you don't have any back orders, and you make sure your inventory is moving properly through the system, and you're not, having inventory that's not moving. So once all the forecasting is done in M.O.M, the next step would be to actually purchase them. And when we go to purchasing, we have a simple screen here. So as a purchaser, you would actually just go here. You would select the products. If you know the products you want to buy, you can select this particular product. So if I wanted to select a couple of these guys, for example, I can process that, and I can hit process. And that would give me all the different products I need to purchase. I can also I can clear the filters here easily. I can just say, give me all the back orders, because typically you just want to handle the back orders, because those are the ones that's important, because people are waiting for them. So you can just click that box and it gives you all your back orders. And you can clear again. You can look for a specific supplier. So if you know you need to buy a particular product from a vendor, you put the vendor code in, and that will give you the list of all the products you can buy from them. You can also add active selling products. So typically you want to see what's actually moving. You can actually just pick and choose which products you want over here, and then process that's been active. That gives you all the active selling. So you don't necessarily want to put any in the list here that's not been selling, so that, inventory that's not moving. You can also do a low-level range. So if you know anything that's in the low-level range, you can actually pick and choose what percentage you want, and then it would show up here. So you can see the requirement here. If it's under 2%, you can put 0 to 100% or 0 to 50. Anything below 50 is going to be shown on a list. That way you can reorder them before they actually run out. Also, on the purchase details here, you can see we have logic in M.O.M that automatically calculates for you so that you get a suggested buy. So you can see it in yellow here, the forecasted, and the back order we didn't forecast for this, but if there was a number here, it would tell you how much you need to buy. So then it takes that value and then calculates that, and then it would get you a suggested buy right here. again, it's nice and easy. It's pre-populated with all the suppliers. All you really have to do is say, okay, this is the item I want to buy. I'm going to purchase that, and then I hit save, and that will be creating a PO. And once the PO is created, you can easily receive it through our process here. There's a manual receive, where you can actually pick and choose the different POs that you want to receive. You can highlight it, and you can hit receive all, and then save. That would save it in our system. Save here, receive, and that will just add 10 units to that particular product in our system once we do a process updates. So process updates in our system, what it does is that the system knows that you just received 10 units of that particular product. And what the process updates does is actually scans through our different orders in the system that has a particular product and automatically fills that product in for that order, so that way you can fill that. So the way our system works is the first come first serve basis, but you do have an option to override the inventory allocation, so that way if you have a VIP client, you can accommodate them first before the other regular clients that you might have. So the other way we can do receiving is through our scan and receive. So if you want more accurate, we do support scan and receive. So you can imagine in your shipping dock, you can have a workstation there with a scanner. You can scan the PO, you can scan the products, so that way it ensures that you're receiving the proper products and the proper amount of that particular product. So this is another optional way to actually do the receiving in the M.O.M side. Within M.O.M, like Sean mentioned, we do have a lot of reportings on inventory, so you can see your back orders, your low levels, you have your master inventory report, you have your cost loss, your transaction, you have your bin reports, which breaks it down by bin, by warehouse, so you can see what's going on there and how much you actually have. You have your supplier turnaround, you have your receiving allocation report, you got your warehouse activity. We also have performance on products, so you can see low activity product report. So you can also do product performance. You can include the return information, things like that for products. That way you can get more on it. You can also, what was it? Going back to the product reports, you can show the top, number of products that are not moving. So that way you can identify what inventory is actually not selling, and that way you can either run promos around them or to know not to actually purchase them again because they're not actually moving. You can also do the same thing for your top products that are selling, so you can see what's top performing. So there's different ways you can run different reports, but they come standard to our system, and those standard reports are not enough for you. We have a SQL database that you can actually run report against directly. So if you're familiar with Crystal Reports or Report Writer, you can directly hook up to the database and kind of report directly on the data that you actually need. We had the support team that can help you and direct you to how to find that data set. So that is the inventory in M.O.M. I'm gonna give it back to Sean. We're gonna take a pause here and see if you guys have any questions. I'll leave it on my screen, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them and show you guys live on the M.O.M system.
All right, thanks Ian for showing off some stuff. Actually, we do have a couple questions here. One of the questions has to go back into forecasting, Ian. The question in regards to forecasting is, say for example, we get a newer version of the product that we sell. Is there any way to forecast that new product based on a similar product?
That's a good question, and the answer to that question is yes. So within the forecasting over here, you can actually let me just select a product for a forecast based on a particular product, so you can actually choose the product that you want and forecast it for against a different product. You can see here. So I selected a product and selected products override projection with another product. So I can put a different SKU number here, so that way if it was a newer version of that particular product, I would use that, but then it would use the the projections based on an older product that we might have sold last year, and we think that the sale figures is going to be similar to it, so we can use that as a basis, and then we can then tweak the adjusted sold or the growth and things like that, like we saw when we can edit the actual forecast.
Cool. Another question here is, we do a year-end inventory count. Is there ways to quickly update and ingest those inventory values within the system? That way we don't have to go in one by one.
Sure. Just to show off, we do have if you wanted to do one by one, if you did it in a year end, so you can actually do adjust inventory right here, one at a time. But within the system, there is a import export inventory to our advanced inventory module. And what that does is that you can have the limited file or an Excel sheet that has the product number and the number of units you actually want to add to the units, the product. So you can have that on shelf, available to sell, or you can just add to existing. So that way it makes it easier. So you can imagine you can have a Excel sheet that has all the inventory, and you can just simply put that back into M.O.M. M.O.M will update all the inventories to the current physical inventory that you guys did. We do have some integration with third party that has a wireless scanner, so you can actually do inventory adjustments there as well. So it makes it easier. So if you're doing physical inventory, you're walking around the warehouse, you can potentially walk around the warehouse with a particular scanner where you can scan the inventory, and then at that point, as you're scanning it, it's updating the data directly. So we do have that third-party integration via barcoders if you guys are interested in that. We also have an API. So if you have if you guys want to write something on yourself, taking on that project, we do have the API that can actually do that for you as well. So you would have a third party or a resource on your side to write that for you, and then you can leverage our API to do all the updates in the M.O.M side.
All right, cool. Thanks, Ian. That's all the questions we had right now. Ian, if you want to give me back presenter, and we can wrap it up. All right, so we're going to recap everything here right now. Obviously, with intuitive forecasting methods to get you ahead of the curve, keeping inventory in stock for longer short term. We talked about the two different methods. We showed you how M.O.M forecasts. We also told you how you can forecast based on an older product for a newer version of the product that comes in. We talked about and showed the rapid purchasing methodologies that we have here, taking some key factors in your current inventory values and low levels, back orders, the forecasted amount, and how to make those purchases quick and easy. And having an excellent receive process gives you the ability to quickly get your inventory out in your locations to sell instantly. Also, with the back order replenishment, we'll make sure that you're taking care of those back orders first, because they're still waiting for you. They have they've aged, and you need to get them out there to your customer as soon as possible. And obviously, last but not least, superior inventory management tool that helps automate your processes can help you stay accurate on all your e-commerce channels. Having a good view, having it all housed in one system, gives you the ability to view and manage those inventories, values, and numbers throughout the entire system. It makes it quite easy for you. So with that being said, we're going to pause for one more quick question and answer period. Make sure that you ask your questions in the questions panel. We will be back in 15 seconds. All right. With that being said, this is the end of today's webinar. We do want to thank you guys for attending and joining us today. If you do guys have any questions after the fact, please feel free to email marketing@freestylesolutions.com with all your questions. We'll be more than happy to answer them for you. For myself and Ian, we want to thank you. This is our last webinar of 2017, so have a happy and safe holiday and New Year's. We'll see you in 2018. Like I said, any questions, feel free to email marketing@freestylesolutions.com. With that being said, Sean and Ian signing off. Thank you.